What's up? What's up? Charlatan. Comment down below what you got going on at the time of seeing this. What you doing? You're heating a mango. I'm at the gym. Finish up some work on the computer before I go hit that workout. This mango. Bussin'. So these type of videos, right? Obviously, I'm outside of my comfort zone right now. So if you want to start content creation and you care about what people think about you, bro, you're gonna realize that nobody cares after a while. And then you're just gonna start doing what you want to do. People don't care as much as you think they do. It's okay, but just make sure you care for you. Get in the gym, film that content. You stop wasting your time pleasing ungrateful people. Probably gonna have to get a napkin so I can like wipe my hand out. People probably wonder like, yo, this guy, he just came to the gym. He's not eating the mango. We'll go work out. This is busting, bro. Yeah, watch me. This is bringing me back home, like in Jamaica, growing up. Man, the mango trees, bro. When it was mango season, they're all over that place. Shout out Zeke's. Big shout out to you, man. Wow. I think I'm gonna cook Artoid Fitness. If y'all want me to cook and bring food and put right here, so the community or the members of the gym can try it, let me know. I got you. I'll just cook it, do it. I would love to do that for y'all. If y'all want everyone to do that. That'd be a nice way to give back and create some engagement in just the community. You know. Plus, I got some recipes that I want y'all to try. For real. Now we got a kiwi. I was but this is good.
And so, like, I cleaned, I did the billing, I did the sales, I taught the sessions, like, I fixed the equipment, like, I did everything. Because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know, and I didn't have the money, frankly, to afford anything else. And so, I get it. Like, I get it. But to get out of that, you have to take steps. And the first step is saying that it's my fault. The second step is that you have to use what you have. And so, in the beginning, I was reading self-help books and all this stuff, and none of them really hit for me because a lot of it was like power positive thinking, like affirmations, and like all this stuff. The reason I make the content I do now, which is now almost become like a shit, countering that is because it didn't work for me, and I'm not trying to speak there. If that works for you, then like awesome. Like people mistake me saying this is what worked for me with this is what I think everyone should do. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm saying if what you have been doing hasn't been working, then consider this. Which is that, like, I remember because I just read this yesterday. The intro in the book, I say, I wish I could tell you that the reason I was able to get out of it was because
I don't know if you guys can hear what's going on here, but I'm watching Alex Armrosi.
light up and step on the scale and lose weight, but fit in their high school clothes game. It was nothing. It was just the sheer anger that I had, the idea of having people back home about everything. And I just couldn't, I mean, I still couldn't talk. And so, I mean, I took, in some ways, this isn't woes is the right term, but like, I had an otherwise very successful career. Like, I was in a white collar, sometimes it's hard, like, I don't know how to do the other situation. Like, taking a step down, helping yourself get a college situation. And I remember when I took walking, they're like, oh, did you go to college? And they were saying that patronage.
But yeah, everything worked out eventually.
But they were saying it's basically like when I was going right from and in those moments, and it was like I could be rather like I could try and get that. He said, to sleep.
Can you guys hear what's happening with it?
So
My back. Bring that closer. There you go.
He's writing in permanent marker. I'm trying not to lose my shit over the fact that I have to repaint the wall. She doesn't have a parent or child. But I needed to close the card to pay for the paint. So it's like I can scold the kid and lose the sale, or I can close the sale and keep my cool, and then eventually clean the wall. It's like you only get that stuff by doing it. And so if you're in a place right now where you don't have a lot, you only have one thing, which is time. And so you have lower leverage. I'm not lying. There's this one play, this one secret. It's just sheer. Like you have to will yourself out. If there's, you have to do. It's a huge amount of soul driving energy that you have to do outside of what you normally do. So it's like you have to live one person's normal life. You have to do your normal work, your normal job, sleep, whatever. And then the work day starts. So that is how you do today. But you're trying to get ahead tomorrow. And so you have to eat the glass so that you can take the pain. You're trying to take as much of the pain from tomorrow as you can today so you can get ahead. And like even the concept of getting ahead, I think about this visually, which is like if you have this timeline of life that you can pull towards you, and it's glass in the beginning, and then it's slightly less coarse, and then less coarse, and then it gets neutral, and then it starts to get a little bit sweeter. But you have to get through that glass period where you pull towards you. And I do have this theory that like on a long enough time horizon, you could live 1,000 years. Everyone would eventually be successful, but people wait too long, die too early. And I say die too early, and so I have to live today and tomorrow and the next day, so I can live 3 days at a time, so I can get to my second and third life's benefits. And so that was what, like, I remember the only times that I took off when I was at the gym. One of the biggest gyms that I moved across the country. And so I knew no one was going to feature for a long time. And what would happen is one of the gifts of that was that once the week was over, my Saturday sessions were over, my phone would, like, in some ways, very sad. Is like, no one wanted to see Alex. You know, no one invited me. But I was like, fuck, like, I gotta make this work. And so I'd sit there, like, how do I sell memberships? How do I market? How do I everything, you know? But that was how I got ahead. And so I tell the stories of like, I remember when I stopped watching the Ravens, and I was from Baltimore, so that was like a tie. So it's fresh for me. I'll catch my breath. So, all that to say, the sacrifices that I encourage people to take are not sacrifices. I don't say that there's no ways to get there. I'm just saying that this is the way I am. And if this path works for you, then maybe it works better than what you're doing. Which is, I had a lot of pain. So I tried to use it. I just used what I had. I didn't want to fail. So I just kept going. And so there was no like, there just wasn't another option. And so I think that's what I would encourage people to think about. It's like, I didn't allow another option because the other option was just worse than that. I've told this story before and things get hyperbolized and really exaggerated. When I had my big consulting job, I was making good money and I had approval of my peers and I just didn't want to wake up the next day. It wasn't like I was trying to kill myself. Every night I was and so when I knew that that was what I was going back to if I did make this work. I had no plan. I mean, I planned things out, right? But that was very much.
I'm just thinking about So I'm just thinking about the ride to New York City, and when I was on that bus all the way there, I had no idea what the experience would be like. Like I had to literally step out of my comfort zone and be swollen up by the fact that I had no idea what to expect. And now I see how all of that comes back around full circle to where it's paying tremendously. Bro, there would be a time, bro, I would not want to be seen. Like, I'm in public right now, out in the public gym with my camera up, recording, watching social anxiety outbreak out. It's crazy. Jesus save. Believe.
Wealthier person, $100 may represent 4 minutes. And so it's a constant appraisal that you do on a regular basis, looking on your calendar and saying, what things do I have here that I can trade my time for more money? And so, again, this video is about making money overall. I'm not saying that you can't spend time with your girl, but there is a transaction cost for that time. And as long as you're willing to make the trade, then trade it all day. But the bad trades are the one that when you actually think about it in terms of what it costs, you'd say, I wouldn't do the trade. That's a bad deal. And so over time, if you continue to trade up how much time you invest for what it makes you, always make more income year after year after year. Number 6, check your bank account before you check social media first thing in the morning. And if it hurts you to check your bank account first thing, then you need to do it even more. Because for me, I started not knowing where my money was going. And so I had a friend who was like, dude, just look. And I honestly had anxiety looking at my bank account, looking at what money was going out and all that kind of stuff. And so I started making that habit, and I had to confront it. But the crazy thing is as I started looking at my money, as I started paying attention to my money started paying attention to me and hanging around. And so Peter Drucker said, what gets measured gets managed. And so one of the most fascinating things that I found with human behavior in any kind of change is that the first thing that you can do to improve any metric for any skill is to actually measure it. And so if you want to lose weight, if you weigh yourself every day, no matter how painful the number is, that intervention alone helps you lose weight. You don't even have to talk about diet. You don't have to tell someone to exercise. If they look at the scale every day, they become aware of it. When they become aware of a problem, you start consciously or subconsciously making moves to change it. You have that hesitation before you put that foot in your mouth. You have that hesitation before you take your wallet out when you're looking at your bank account every day. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever you're trying to improve, but look at it, confront reality, and then reality will start to improve. If you're curious, how long do you still check your bank account every day? And the honest truth is, I stopped checking when we had about 20 million bucks. And so that started when I had in the hundreds to $1,000, and continued to check every day. And when I stopped checking it was when I realized my daily fluctuations in market movements and things like that across my assets. I basically wasn't able to really see it on a daily basis, so I had to start extending my time horizon for when I would check it. So it'd be monthly or quarterly that I started checking it, because that way at least I know I should have some movement upwards, and that is something that if you've done checking your bank account every single day for years, you start to already have developed some of those discipline skills, which then you can delay gratification of having saved money for a day to having saved money for a year. Number 7, learn how to make money before you start trying to learn how to make money. So I see so many guys, especially young guys, who are like, I've got $1,000. How do I invest the $1,000? They're trying to figure out a way to get that $1,000 to compound. They put it into a compounding calculator. And if I get 50% returns for the next 40 years, I'm going to be a billionaire. But the thing is that one, it's most likely that you're going to buy a fucking Dogecoin and then it's going to tank and then you're just going to lose your $1,000 and be like, wow, think about this. I just worked for 2 weeks or 1 month to save that $1,000 and I lost it in seconds. So alternatively, if you take that $1,000 and put it into how do I make more money, how do I actively improve the actions and skills that I have, that will get you far more, and that is where you invest the time rather than how do I make money. Because let's be real, you don't have much. So take the money you have into the skill, the flow of making more money, rather than trying to take this tiny thing going from a 10% return to a 20% return. Because the $100 extra that you yield on that $1,000, I promise you, if you learn how to add 50% to your skill set, it'll take whatever your annual earning is up by 50%. And that's gonna be a hell of a lot more than 10. And that's assuming everything goes up this year, which 1 out of 4 years it doesn't. When you say you don't have time, just immediately think to yourself, I'm lying, this is bullshit. Because every single person has between 5 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 9 p.m. every day of the week, even if you have a 40-hour job, even if you're a full-time student, because everybody has those 8 hours per day. Now, the thing is that we're not willing to make the trade-off because we have these things that make us comfortable. If you reframe that thing as the thing that makes me comfortable today is the thing that's going to make me uncomfortable for a decade, all of a sudden the cost of that comfort goes up. And so then it flips to, if I can become uncomfortable today, I can be comfortable for decades. And so then you can seek out those 8 hours and say, you know what, I'm going to flip this thing. And here's the crazy part about work. Work makes you money in 2 ways. One, you work and you make money. And secondly, when you're working, you're not spending money. And so when you're starting out, you literally have a double effect. The money that you're making the whole way through is stacking up because there's no drains on it either. And so one of the biggest advantages you have is that you stay busy. One of the keys to investing is patience. What is patience? Patience is figuring out activities to do in the meantime. Think about it for a second. Unpack that. Patience is figuring out what to do in the meantime. So that if the goal is to get rich, and we know that that takes time, and it takes time for money to compound and grow, then what you do in the meantime is that you work so that you have even more money to invest. And that money has the time to invest and compound while you're working. And I'm so passionate about this because this isn't something that I didn't do, right? Like when I had my job in the beginning, I just wasn't really taking the time that I should have. I don't want to do this thing forever. I gotta get ahead, but I couldn't stop doing my job. So I started spending my mornings and my evenings every day and both weekend days what I was going to do next. In the beginning, that was studying for the GMAT because I thought business school was going to be the next move. But after studying for the GMAT and crushing the test, I came to another realization, which was, I'm going to go to business school because I want to start a business. Well, you know what? It's going to cost me less than 2 years and $180,000 plus what I paid during the 2 years of not working. I could probably net $10,000 a year of income, which is what the average business school person graduated with when I was looking at business school. And I was like, I think I can get to 10 grand a month if I had 2 years to work and didn't spend 180 grand and I took that money and just put it into a business. Now you're like, well, you didn't even have 180 grand. You're damn right I didn't. I was able to save up 50 and I was like, I think with this 50, I'll be able to spend it to learn enough to make 10 grand a month. And that's what I did. 9, if you don't know how you can lose money in something, then you're gonna lose it. Think about this for a second. If something looks amazing and you're like, dude, there's no way I can lose money on this, you're absolutely going to lose your ass because of how little you actually know. And so you have to figure out, one, what is my downside, and all the different ways that downside can occur, and then attach a reasonable likelihood that that happens, and then probably multiply it by 3. Because whenever you have your rose-colored glasses on, you're an entrepreneur, or you want to be an entrepreneur. One of the quintessential traits of entrepreneurship is optimism. We are optimists. We think it's all going to work out, and you have to have that level of optimism to start. But when you start, you can't continue to have that optimism around every other opportunity because then you are going to lose your ass because you're going to be split between multiple things. And so if you don't know how you can lose money, you absolutely will because it just is an index of how little you know. 10. The biggest cost that you have is ignorance. So every single month you've got your rent, you've got your food, you've got your clothes, you've got your car, you've got whatever else you spend. And you think that's my fixed costs. Years ago, I was sitting in the audience and I saw a man write $1 million on a whiteboard. And he called someone from the audience, he said, how much do you make per year? And they said, $50,000 a year. He said, would you like to make $1 million a year? And the person said, yes. And then he put a minus sign. He said, did you know that it's costing you $950,000 per year to not know how to make $1 million a year? And it was such a light bulb moment for me that I realized that the cost of ignorance is the difference between what your goals are and what you have today. Because if you knew how to achieve your goals, the difference is the value of that education. And conversely, the difference is the cost, that debt of ignorance. And so the number one priority in my life has always been to pay down ignorance as fast as I possibly could using whatever currency I needed to. So if that was relational capital, that means using my network or doing favors for people or paying money, which is the least efficient way of doing it. I would try and find a way that I could pay down ignorance to achieve the things that I wanted. So I could get the information, so I could get the learning. When I started, I paid to get into rooms. I paid $25,000, $35,000. They're like, wait, I don't have that right now. I get it. Pay $10,000 for the first thing I ever bought. That was information. That's about the first thing I ever invested in. How was I able to do that? Because I had saved for 2 years.
Guys, everything all over the place.
I'm going to invest in learning. And when I got in that room, the first room I was in was a gym owner room, and I didn't have a gym. And I paid to be in that room so I could start the gym the right